Welcome to English and Grow. Today's topic is the moon. So, what about these words? Do you know what pollination is? Do you know this animal, badger? Do you know what a high tide and low tide is? Do you know that your behavior might be lunatic? Let's dive into it. So, the moon, this wonderful celestial object, has a huge impact, a huge influence on many things on the planet Earth. So, let's start with the high tide and the low tide. So, even if you are not a sailor, it's good to know that the level of the sea changes. And if you put, for example, your blanket or your deck chair way too close to the sea because you are lazy to walk a few steps away, you might get out of the water and find everything soaking wet because of the coming high tide. But it's not just the sea that the moon has its influence on, it's also animals. So, night animals, night predators, they like to go hunting for prey, especially during the full moon. Why? Because of the better visibility. It's not just about hunting, it's also about mating. And for example, night birds like owls, they like to mate for mating, especially during the full moon. Why? Because the feathers look so much more beautiful. Now, badgers actually, they like to choose a different period. They like to choose the new moon for their mating because their mating takes longer and it's better for them. During new moon, the males they like to excrete some special juice to attract their females, and it takes longer to attract the perfect one. It's not just us mammals that the moon has its influence on. It's also corals actually. So scientists find it hard to explain how come uh, it's also possible for corals to distinguish the different intensity in the light coming from the moon. It's also actually plants. So this plant, which I'm sure you maybe do not know how to call, is actually using the cycle of the moon to attract its pollinators so that the pollination can take place during the full moon. This plant again excretes something special to attract its pollinators, and it is sweet juice so that the bees, for example, show up. Uh, if you like to harvest medicinal plants, again, during the full moon, it is said that the powers are the most potent, but it's got to be a dry day. That's also important. Now, I'm sure you know about those urban legends speaking about the werewolves howling during the full moon. But if you work in hospital, I'm sure you will agree that it's actually a period where when more car crashes, more incidents, um, more accidents take place. And if you are an obstetrician, they say that also more childbirths take place on the night of the full moon. And they say that people, not all of us, I believe, but some people are inclined to crazy behavior, and that is called lunatic behavior, sort of being more aggressive, more upset than usual. Now, what else does it have influence on? It is also our sleep. So, our bodies are made up of 75% of water. And during the night of full moon, some people find it hard to sleep. So, if you cannot fall asleep, that's called insomnia. And some people even might go for a more adventure, and that's called sleepwalking. That might be dangerous because you can stumble against something and it can end up in an injury. Now, as women, we are the proud carriers of a fantastic organ which is called the womb, and the womb is also aligned with the lunar cycle. So, as for fertility, I believe they say that menstruation should start on the night of the new moon so that the woman can get pregnant on the night of the full moon. But it could also take place differently. Some people believe that the night of the full moon is great for meditation, for some sort of rituals of your choice. And that ritual could be, for example, fasting. And that means you do not eat the whole day or at least a couple of hours during that day. Let's talk about the phases. So, this is called waxing, and that means the shape resembles the letter D, and that means it is becoming bigger and bigger. And this phase is called waning. That means it is like the letter C, and the moon is becoming smaller and smaller, the way we say it. Every now and then, eclipse takes place, and that's usually seen as a bad sign, but we have survived many lunar and solar eclipses anyway. So, what have you learned? What about sleepwalking? Do you know what fasting is? Do you know that the moon can be waning? This is it. If you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, support me on my Patreon, English and Grow, for more videos, language coaching. And if you ever struggle like I do, and everyone does, remember, please do, every breath is a new beginning.